Hey guys, let me jump out to the daily time frame here before I begin. All right, so what I wanted to talk a bit about this trade that I did today because it's based on a lot of the stuff that I've been learning in this community, and I've been adjusting the stuff I have on my charts that I use every day and reducing the number of trades that I take to a certain specific set of trades. Um, and so I think it's helping me to not shoot from the hip so much because I find that the challenge I have in my trading is that I shoot from the hip too much and then my losses outweigh my wins. And so I'm trying to stop that. And so here, let me talk about what I was expecting on the daily time frame, and then we'll get into the other stuff. So we had this drop down from all-time highs, sort of in another community, I mean, we call this a sucker punch. And the expectation after a sucker punch is that it actually does rally back to all-time highs. And so it would, you can see it was like a red day, a green day, a red day, a green day, a red day, a green day, a red day, and now a green day. And so it's been not an easy path up here, I don't think. But in hindsight, it looks easy, but at the time it wasn't. But anyway, the one common thing on these red and green days is that we are one time framing higher. So we're stair stepping up where the low of each day is higher than the low of prior day. So coming into today, after we'd set an all-time high yesterday and then moved down from there, and then we had CPI in the morning, my expectation was that we would actually try to retrace and get somewhere near the low of prior day and then rally out of that. And that's actually my favorite type of move when we get an extension to the downside, not just a rounding bottom. Because with extensions, which is Joe's indicator is really good at catching those scalps from the lows. That's like, to me, the easiest way to get involved in a trade is it's pushing down to the downside, but you expect it to go back up. So you wait for the extension down and then you buy that bottom, and then that can be potentially the bottom on the day. So that's what I was thinking about coming into the day. And if we go to the 2-minute time frame, I'll show you now the indicators that I've been using. Some of these I'm going to get rid of, don't need them. Okay, so what I have on here is one of my indicators called day trader levels, and this shows you key levels from prior day. So pre-market high, yesterday high day, today's open, the halfway point between the high and the low of yesterday, the close of prior day, and that one's important because obviously it marks red to green, pre-market low of the morning, and then yesterday low of day. And these matter to me a lot because I base a lot of trades on these, especially on situations like this where I'm expecting a low to be set that's above the low of prior day. So we come into this on the open, and I actually had, I have my own indicator kind of like Joe's. I don't know how his works, but I made one myself that is based on ATR moves on shorter term time frames. And so as we come into the morning, I'm looking at the purple line here, which is VWAP, and the brown line here, which is 2-day VWAP. And by the way, that's another indicator that I have. Let me just show you this one here, VWAP, 2-day VWAP, and it also has month VWAP, and it has week, month, and year. And if I zoomed out, you see the year one too. There it is. And so I don't like indicators that put big boxes on the screen like the one you guys have, or ones where you have to remember what colors mean. So I make these ones that have labels on them instead. So I always know what that line is for. This one's not publicly released yet. I called it Alpha Trends, and I'm thinking about reaching out to Brian Shannon and asking him his permission because I kind of feel like maybe I shouldn't name it that. Anyway, it's all based on Brian Shannon's stuff with Anchor VWAP. So I come in here and I'm thinking, okay, we got the CPI move in the pre-market. We had a bit of a move down. Then on the open, we push up. We can't break the high of CPI. And normally I would be shorting there. I would be shorting against that top. But today I was like, no, I'm going to try to stick with my plan, which is, catch a bottom. And so I would be giving up the opportunity if this actually broke the low and we started daily consolidation. But because I really believe that we were actually going to continue back up to all-time highs, especially with the initial move on CPI being bullish. So, okay, so we fail at that high of pre-market. Oh, and I should put that indicator back on. 1 second. There. Okay, so yeah, there's the pre-market high. So I'm looking at my key levels. I'm zoomed in here, and I can see the orange line. I know that would be my stop if I was trying to short here. Now I want to see it go below the VWAP and test the 2-day VWAP. And Brian Shannon calls this a 1-2, where it tests this one and then pushes back up through that one. So 1, 2, and away. But we didn't get that. We got to push down through VWAP and then down through the 2-day VWAP. And when it tried to break up, even through the 2-day VWAP, which isn't a go signal, by the way, it would need to get through the VWAP to be a go signal, fails to do that, goes lower. And I have this little orange dot here, similar to Joe's stars on his indicator. And so I'm starting to see, I think I was on the 1 minute. Let me just move this down and see. I'm starting to see some signals of extension to the downside. So this candle was extended. And then we get that bounce, and we can't hold above the 2-day VWAP, pushes lower. And at the time that this was bottoming out here, look how close we are to both the pre-market low here and yesterday low of day there. And so at the point that I'm getting into this trade, this is what the thing looks like. It was right here. So I'm looking at this, right? And I'm thinking, when we got down to this low and we were extended, if I was getting on my indicator some of these orange dots, or I have bright pink dots, if it's super extended, I would have gone long there with a stop below yesterday low of day. But I didn't quite get it. What I did see is, as this was happening, I was watching all of the Mag 7, as I always do, because a lot of the time I just trade Qs and I want to see what's driving the move in the Qs. It sort of makes it a little more predictable. And at the time that this was happening, you can see I was getting these red X's and pink X's, which is very extended to the downside signal. And we were also testing yesterday low of day, and I was expecting at this point any break below this is probably going to bounce. And so like I imagine that this is bottoming out, and I'm looking at, you know, Nvidia, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and they're all starting to look like they're ready to turn. So that gives me confidence in the Qs, but I did not take this trade, because one of the things Brian Shannon always talks about, and I'm trying to sort of bake it into my thinking, is don't buy the dip, buy the strength after the dip. And so this was still the dip. Normally I would have taken a shot here, and it would have worked. But I was just trying to trade in a different mindset. So after it bounced back up here, I thought this is enough of a retracement of this move down that I expect a higher low, right? And this is also going to look like an inverse head and shoulders. So that's what I was going for here. Was I want to buy the strength after this dip, and like an inverse head and shoulders like that. And so it was right around here somewhere. I can't remember my exact price, but right around here somewhere. After we set this dip, we start moving back up. I bought here. So before we even got to the 2-day VWAP, I bought, because I was confident that this was going to be a higher low that was going to hold. And if not, I'm fine, I'm wrong, and maybe we're going lower. But that was my one shot. And so when it took off basically right away, and I think it was up here at the top of this move. So this was my trade basically here. From here, the stop below there. And once it got up like here, I took a portion off. So this move up, as soon as it broke this candle low here on the 1 minute, I took a portion off there. And that amount sold covered me here. So if it came all the way back down and hit my stop, I was going to still be in profit on the trade. And at that point then, with whatever I have left, I'm just comfortable seeing what it can do. And switch this back to the 5. And I didn't get an awesome trade. I did walk away, and then here's what happened. You know, it continued up. And I think it was right up here when it did this little pullback after breaking yesterday high day. That's where I exited the final amount of my trade. And this is something that I'm also trying to work on, is improving my exits, because I shouldn't have exited there. I have another template here that uses, I call it a moving average rider. So you find the moving average, in this case it's the 5-minute EMA 12. You find the moving average that it is quote unquote riding, and then you use that as your guide to stay in the trade. And then this red line here in this red area is an ATR stop. So I carry a trailing stop underneath by a number of ATR. So this is a 2 ATR trailing stop I've got going here. And let me clean up this chart a little bit. And if I had done that, let's just take this off and you see what happens. If I had done that, I would still be in the trade right now. You know, I exited wherever it was, up here somewhere. I took most of it off, and I'd still be in it up here. That's a significant additional win that I could have had if I had held on and actually used this indicator. So, you know, room for improvement all the time with everything. But that is that's the trade that I took. And the reason I walked away here is because I am terrible about, if I'm watching the chart, I feel the need to take action. So stepping away is another really important thing for me. And I'm trying to switch to a rules-based system where I focus on, like, okay, if the ATR stop is my stop, then I just move my stop up with this indicator, and I don't take action otherwise. So I'm trying to get better. But anyway, that's the trade. That's what went into it, and that's what I'm up to lately. I'll stop there.